is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
When you are prosecuting somebody who held the position of Cabinet Boahen, you are actually prosecuting the national security, and it's hardly ever done. Totobeko Achi is not going to ask Captain Chikata that, let me audit how you protected J.J. Rawlings. He's not going to ask that question. If you were standing with John Mahama for 10 minutes, he will get about 4 phone calls of people offering him houses. He doesn't publish it. He can talk to Bevlo like that, but he doesn't come and publish it to the whole world. The prosecution of Cabinet Boahen continues. That's what is going to happen. We are going to have so much in the public domain that we don't want.
So first time now subscribe ye like video no na ye comment or comment section me we na share Paul Adom Otchere and an idea walk say prosecution of Cabinet Boahen e continue na say national security obi awakoye adwuma te se panyepa wo ho na ye de ne nyoma betudwa ebema egu national security ho efin. Yes, wabwe remu Cabinet Boahen ene Dominic Ayine ensam no bebi akwa pie e court. Now adenta kumi ukasa kwan adenta kumi ono ko ja kudi alankashe chi a wono akoya nyoma hyedan ko yama na wasamba back to MPP no. What the petition be akoda mampanyin about den judges hom betena asem no so no conflict of interest bi o baby then na petition no efa ho Paul Adom Otchere aboyerem na utie nseme wo ma ebusua and what do you ensem bi boboba. Now you see the Lord and the God of Tokonu is really big. Tokonu I say Tokonu ye nyan tie de dimbi sa na asesen say na Paul Adom Otchere opachre
security matter. Cabinet Boahen is out of custody now. Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General, is still prosecuting. In fact, today, the court had wanted the Attorney General to deliver the witness statement. What's a witness statement? A witness statement is a list of witnesses that the prosecution will be relying on to make their case. Unfortunately, the witness statement did not get to the judge today. Maybe to get there tomorrow, we don't know. But that's the state of affairs as far as the court is concerned. Now, let me tell you, viewers, I'll come to the Supreme Court one. That's our next story. That's a very big story. And perhaps eventually we'll talk about Manchester United. Also, tonight, there is the controversy about my brother from Ningo Pram Pram, the member from Ningo, Sam Nate George, is threatening legal action against PK Sapon, a regular writer and Facebooker who had been on his Facebook page to allege that Sam George had received a gift of a car. Sam George has issued letters publicly indicating that he will take legal action. But there's a bit more to that because Samuel Brian Boahen, one of my favorite bloggers. Is he a blogger? Samuel Brian Boahen is a good writer as well. He's one of my favorites. He's raised a fundamental issue about the whole Sam George car situation. We'll be talking a bit about that. I had texted Sam George earlier today asking whether the story was true. He denied it. And he also sent me the legal documents and other documentation to support the claim that the car is not a gift, etc., etc. We'll get into that. That's coming up a bit in a bit. But now, the Attorney General, the learned Dominic Ayine, is still prosecuting Cabinet Boahen in public. And I say in public for a good reason. Let me begin the story now. The reason why this is a national security matter is that when you are prosecuting somebody who held the position of Cabinet Boahen, you are actually prosecuting the national security, and it's hardly ever done. And hold on, let me land. You get what I'm saying? Cabinet Boahen was working for national security. In working for national security, they do all kinds of things that we are not supposed to know. We being the ordinary citizens, we are not supposed to know, and they do that because their responsibility is to make sure that national security is not just policing and gun and all of that. Their responsibility is to make sure that the WASI exam happen seamlessly. That's their responsibility. It's national security's responsibility to make sure that Asante Kotoko and Hassofo game at the Accra Sports Stadium is seamless. There are no people, nobody dies. National security's responsibility it is that when there's no water in Damango, it's a national security matter. It is national security's matter when the Asante Hine is celebrating Akwesidai. It's a national security matter. The protection of the president's household is a national security matter. If the president has an important person in his life and the person is living at some place, national security can advise that because this person is so important to the president, either as a policy advisor or something like that, the person must move from this place and come and stay here. National security pays for it. So the things that national security do, we are not supposed to know, because when we get to know, it will take away the effect, the authority of the national security. It is for this reason that you wouldn't find that let me see the historical photographs. Even when there are hostile changes in government, even when there's a coup d'etat, here is Commander Sasijima, who once occupied national security positions. Now here is Totobi Kwache, who was a national security couple. Oh, you didn't get me Captain Chikata's photograph. Sorry, it's not there. I think we didn't add it to the list. Captain Kojo Chikata. Now, Totobi Kwache took over from Captain Chikata. Now, so when Totobi Kwache took over from Captain Chikata, Totobi Kwache is not going to ask Captain Chikata that, let me audit how you protected J.J. Rawlings. He's not going to ask that question. Even if he's asking that question, we won't know. We shouldn't know. He will deal with Captain Chikata that, Captain, but I don't understand this. I saw Bevlo Latte there. Let me see Bevlo Latte. So Bevlo Latte was 1999, 2000. He came back in 2009. So from Bevlo Latte, it came to Francis Poku. Good. Francis Poku here, former senior police DCOP, who became the national security officer after Bevlo Latte and Totobi Kwache. Bevlo Latte actually was commander of the 64 Infantry Battalion in those days. And then Totobi Kwache was Minister for National Security. And then they handed over to Francis Poku. Francis Poku will not say that Totobi Kwache should come and render accounts on how he protected J.J. Rawlings, on how he protected Mrs. Rawlings, or how he conducted peaceful Akwesidais, or how he conducted chieftaincy disputes, or how the Takrade girls were saved because he saw some money and he wants to know, and they don't do that. They really don't do that. They don't have that conversation. I mean, you remember the 2017 incident. It's a national security matter, but I think we didn't realize that. And the matter came out, and many senior MPP people told me that they regret that situation. It was a very private conversation between the outgoing president, John Dramani Mahama, and the incoming president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It was about a house. And the outgoing president, John Dramani Mahama, has said that I want to live in this house. This is where I've lived since I was vice president. If it pleases you, can I stay here? Apparently, there was an agreement, and that Asante Hine was involved and all of that. Later on, the hawks in the MPP party said that we had won the election. He didn't win the election. He got only 44%. How does he decide? Wait, he should clear off from the house. When an agreement had been established between the outgoing president and the incoming president, the hawks came in and said, John Mahama should pack his things and leave the house. All of that. Somehow, regrettably, the pressure stayed, and John Mahama decided that he doesn't want any of these things. He's leaving. I remember in those days, I had a conversation with somebody. Now, at that time, I was really in the middle, and I know what I'm talking about. Some people know as well. In those days, if you were standing with John Mahama for 10 minutes, he will get about 4 phone calls of people offering him houses. I was standing there. His phone was ringing like that. He has an outgone president. He was still in the house. There was pressure that he should leave. Drones were flying over the house, taking pictures. And he was getting phone calls. Oh, Your Excellency, I have a 2-house airport. Let's come and look at it and choose one. What is this they are doing in Ghana? I have a friend who is, I think I'm older than him. Young man, I don't want to mention his name. He saw me there and said, but Paul, why are your people doing that? What is this? And I said, Charlie, this is a big matter. He said, even I can give JM a house. Even me, I can give JM a house. What's his house? What is the point? And I remember, I saw the disappointment on John Mahama's face. And he said, it doesn't matter. Let's go. I mean, there's no problem. So that, and later on, some people told me that I went to one of the important people. Again, I don't want to mention. I asked him that, but Gaps, what's happening? What's there? They said, well, I mean, the Hawks came in, and this is so disappointing. This was the home that eventually Dr. Boahen lived in and left. And at that time, they were building something for the vice president. This was a clear national security conversation that the rest of Ghana was unaware of. And as it should be, the rest of Ghana should be unaware of a situation like that. Now, if you start asking Kwabena Boahen that, the money that you took here and there, what happened? That's when he will start saying in public that I gave the money to the parliamentary committee. I gave the money to the Attorney General who is prosecuting me. He himself benefited from the money. The Attorney General didn't benefit illegally from the money. He was a chairman of a committee of parliament. Money was given to the committee of parliament. That's fine. But the Attorney General may not have known at the time where the money came from, because Kwabena Boahen did not hand the money over to the committee of parliament. He didn't do that. He was responsible for the money and probably handed it over to the speaker or deputy speaker, and that was for the benefit of the members of the committee. So now you are prosecuting him. He tells you that the 20 cedis in your pocket, it is that money that you are prosecuting. And then all of Ghana is saying, hey, so committee members take money. That's what happened 2 weeks ago. Hey, parliamentarians take money. That is part of a national security apparatus. It's part of a national security operation to keep the republic afloat. That's why you are a Republic of Ghana, because you have a backbone called national security that keeps the republic afloat. If the president calls the national security minister and says that, why is there no water in Damango? Charlie, hurry up and go and do it. He calls Ghana Water. What do you have? Say, Charlie, we have some turbines and some things that are not working. If we get 16 million cedis, we will be able to fix it. He goes, Mr. President, they need 16 million. Say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Call Bank of Ghana. The 16 million cedis, they won't write it as Ghana. I've already discussed that classification and declassification. They'll write it as something. When Francis Poku comes to take over, he doesn't go to Gwevlo Lati and say, by you, the 200 million that you spent on the Rolling Stone, what was it about? He doesn't publish it. He can talk to Gwevlo like that, but he doesn't come and publish it to the whole world. Because if you do that, then you are reducing the effects of national security. And that's really where we are today. If the prosecution of Kwabena Boahen continues, that's what is going to happen. We are going to have so much in the public domain that we don't want. I'm sure some people are watching me, young men watching and say, hey, national security, yes, you can hear Juma Oho. That's fine. There's no problem with that. And young people who want to go to national security, if you read Jeffrey Archer's books, Shall We Tell the President, First Among Equals, he discusses, especially in Shall We Tell the President. You can Google it, Shall We Tell the President by Jeffrey Archer. Very good book. Shall We Tell the President is about an American, first female American president. It's a bit of fiction. First female American president who was going to give her first sessional address, and they had agreed to, there was some machination to assassinate her, and it's a whole national security operation working to pick up the people who wanted to assassinate the president, because they appeared that they were very inner circle to the party that had won the election, which was the Republican Party that Jeffrey Archer was writing about. If you read that book, you will see the different things that national security classify their work as. They are doing their work, but they classify it differently. So if you come and say that, what was this money for? So this money was given to Flight Lieutenant Rawlings when he was traveling to the Volta region. He wanted to go to the Volta region, come back the same day. Then he went to Lomé, and then he went to Côte d'Ivoire, and then he had all of these things. So this is the money that was given to him. We don't come and prosecute that in court. The question then is, are you therefore saying the national security can do what they like and blow our money and go away? No, certainly not. Why? Because within the national security context, they have what they call rogue elements, and they know how to deal with them. If the government comes today, the government of President John Dramani Mahama, yes, Albert Kandapa, I'll tell you a story about him. The government of John Dramani Mahama come today, and they see that, this Kwabena Boahen boy was a problem. They will get national security razak or national security apparatus. It could be Prosper Bani, Kofi Boache, whoever, and they call him and say, what's wrong with you? Why did you do this? Listen, those your 7 houses that you use the money to buy, we're confiscating it. Go and bring the cars. We, the general public, will not know. They will confiscate the houses, they will confiscate the cars, and they become national security property. And that's why they have safe houses all over the place. A lot of the safe houses are confiscated. National security, that is their operations in camera. Very, very important. In camera and surreptitious. It has to be so, because that is the backbone of the republic. There are national security installations that only the president and the vice president know. I don't know. Maybe I walk in front of it. I don't know it's a national security installation. Until Colonel Gaddafi came to Ghana in 2007, a lot of us journalists didn't know that there's something called Australia House. We didn't know. Should I show you what Australia House is? I won't show you. Every day you pass there, you don't know. That's Australia House. It's a major national security installation. You pass there every day, you don't know. When Gaddafi came, and some of us journalists were selected to go and see him, and they said, why are we going to see him? They drove past the Christ the King. I said, where is Gaddafi? They say, he's in Australia. They took us to some place, huge compound. When you are walking by the streets, you just see trees, so you don't see it. And Colonel Gaddafi was in a tent over there. Beautiful man, Very kind-hearted looking. Colonel Gaddafi, I saw him personally, one-on-one. And not just me, but there were other people there. And he was living in some tent, and they put the tent on the compound because he didn't want to live in the building because of his own security consciousness. So that's national security. You won't know that that's a national security installation. Maybe you live in Laboni. The house next to you, it's a national security installation. You won't know. We shouldn't know. So when you go and catch Kwame Boahen, he says that, what was the money for? He said the money that we used to buy the furniture for the national security installation at number 6 4th Circular. The whole Ghana knows. It's in court. Everybody, oh, number 6 4th Circular. That's why I've been seeing police motors going there. We don't need to know that because it's the backbone of the republic. So this prosecution of national security in the public, where people are saying that, oh, but if he has done something wrong because of he's hiding behind national security. He's hiding behind national security. He is not hiding behind national security. If national security feel that he has a problem, they have ways of dealing with it. And they've done it so many times. And they can do it. This prosecution of an attorney general comes in and says that, this prosecution by an attorney general who comes in and says that, press conference, national security man, Kwame Boahen, he used 49 million to do this. When we asked him, he said he gave it to members of parliament. On so and so date, why must we know what members of parliament got or what members of parliament didn't get? If Kwame Boahen has done something, surely Razak, the national security coordinator, the national security apparatus, they know how to deal with him. It shouldn't be a trial in the public because that is destroying the backbone. And that's what all of these men agree with. Francis Poku agrees with that. Bevlo Latte agrees with that. Totobi Kwachi agrees with that. Asasi Jima agrees with that. Everyone agrees with the principle that this process must be held in camera, away from prosecution, away from Criminal Procedure 29, away from Criminal Code 29 and Criminal Procedure 30. Criminal Offences Act 29 and Criminal Procedure Act 30. That's not, you don't prosecute national security in 29 and 30. You don't do that. There are ways of dealing with it. Now, one time I traveled to London, as I sometimes do. Albert Kandapa was on the fly. This is our 2019. He was on the fly. I was teasing him all the time because when he was in Parliament, I used to report for him. Adom Otchere, very, very sharp guy. And I remember in those days, D.F. Annan really used to like him. And he always said, Albert Kandapa, let me hear your opinion. And then he would stand up, and I was very excited that D.F. Annan was liking a minority person. There were just a few minority like today. My mighty minority they were. And Albert Kandapa, if he just said, I remember him very well. So every time I see him, I'm teasing him. And then, of course, we have another relationship. His grandson and my daughter are in the same class. And so that's a story for another day. So when I meet her, I ask him, how is your grandson? He shouldn't sit near my daughter, and then we'll be chatting like that. Okay. So we traveled to London and we arrived in London. And then we got out of the plane. I was still following him and talking my plenty talk. And then we got to a place. He said, okay, where? I said, no, I'm not going. I'm waiting for him. He said, Paul, Adom Otchere. I said, we are all going. Why are you stopping? And I had some 2 black hefty bags with me. I said, okay, I'll carry the bag for him. The way he slapped the back of my wrist, leave the bag alone. I don't know how dreams are. I said, Albert Kandapa. He was still smiling and standing. You know, he has this very nice smile. So he seemed to be waiting for something. I didn't know. I said, no, today, me and him, we are waiting. Then some Abrafo people appeared. Some 2, they were looked very straight. I don't know what eye contact they made. Then one of them took the bag. Then I took the bag. Then they walked that way. I attempted to follow him. He said, hey, get out of here. And then I just teased him and I walked off and I ran away. But that's what it is. It's national security is globally connected. It's not just us. And people are calling people in Ghana that, hey, but Ghana, what is happening? Why are you people broadcasting your national security in public? Don't you know that you have a republic? I really don't understand where this is going. I don't know much about national security, but from the little that I have seen, I don't understand where the Attorney General is going with this. And it is still unclear whether the existing national security apparatus are fully backing the trial of Kwame Boahen under 29 and 30 in the public high courts. I don't know. And all of us who are interested in Ghana should be asking these questions of the prosecution and asking these questions of the important people in government. Are we really sure that we want to do this? Are we really sure? Nothing to do with defending Kwame Boahen that he has done wrong or he hasn't done wrong. Nothing to do with that. Everything to do with the fundamental principles which we are dissipating. Haven't we had coups in this country? Coups have come, coups have gone. Did you ever hear that when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, they audited the national security process under Kwame Nkrumah? Did you ever hear something like that? Nobody did that, but it was a hostile takeover. When Achampon took over from Buzia, did you ever hear that they were auditing in public what Professor Foso Amah was doing in national security? No. When NDC changed from MPP, did you, the hostile one, the 2001, the one that brought Francis Poku to power, Francis Poku took over from Totobi Kwachi. Did you ever hear that the government of John Kufuor, hostile as that switch was, is looking for Totobi Kwachi to ask him, how did you spend 4 million on this? Look at the perceived enmity between Flight Lieutenant Rawlings on one side, John Ajekum Kufuor on one side. There was a whole lot of chaos. He cut them, put them in jail, beat them, kill them, all of that. In all of those conversations, those of you who are old, those of you who are young, you can check the record. There was no mention of anything that Kofi Totobi Kwachi had done at Blue Gate. But he was at Blue Gate. He did a lot of things. He used a lot of money to do different things. Nobody went to ask Totobi Kwachi that, hey, come here, you and Rawlings, you stole this. No. No. Because we don't do it like that. I have to end it. Well, please, let me see the Attorney General. Let me make an appeal to him. These are important people in Ghana. Abel Kandapa, we love him a lot. Francis Poku is now a priest, you know. Francis Poku is now a priest. Now, Francis Poku, when he was National Security Minister, I never met him. He used to have dealings with the coffee shop mafia, but I was never part of that. I never met him. When he left government, many, many years later, Akufo-Addo was president, actually, when this happened. I was traveling to London, and as I usually do, I would go and I visited these old men, and I listened to them. I've not gone to him for a long time. I'm referring to Dr. Tamaklo, Nyaho Tamaklo. I've not gone to him for a long time because there's a lot of political tension between him and Akufo-Addo. I don't want to be in the middle of that. When I go to Nyaho's house, he will be talking and talking. I'm too young to understand the fight that they are fighting, so I just leave it. But on this occasion, I went to visit Nyaho, and I said that, oh, I call him Watcher Nyaho. I said, Watcher Nyaho, me at London. They said, oh, you're going to London. I need to give you a book to give to Francis Poku. I said, but I've never met him. He said, oh, then you will see him. So he wrote his phone number on the book, and he gave it to me. That's a book Nyaho Tamaklo had written. So I went to London, and I called him, and he said he was a priest. It's a Sunday. He's going to church, and he'll come and see me. So he came over to the hotel, and I went to see him, and I said, oh, wow. So this is Francis Poku. He smiled. I gave him the book. He said, so how is Ghana? I said, Ghana is fine. When are you coming? He said, oh, I'm doing a few things in Bible school. When I finish, I will come. This is Francis Poku. The dreaded Francis Poku. When I met him, he spoke meekly, soft man. But he's a very important security couple. He ran all of Kufuor's security operations. When Professor Mills came to power and Gbevlo Latte returned to the national security, not once did we hear Gbevlo Latte saying that, go and bring Francis Poku and let's try him for this, for that, for this, for that. And the other thing is that you can think national security is nice and that there's money there, which may be true, because if you are handling money, there's something called politicians call something handling charges. Political money has handling charges. So when it moves from here to here, there may be some changes. But if you see the videos that I saw in Atachere's office of Kwabena Boahen rescuing the Canadian girls who had been kidnapped, and if you look at the video, that guy could have died at any time. I'm sure as the process goes on, these are not videos that we should see. But the way the trial is going, some of these videos are going to come into the court. If you see Kwabena Boahen in the holes that he was in Ashanti region, trying to rescue, he had to hold the girls himself with his hand. He went with a massive police operation, and he had to hold them by hand. And you go there, and there's a taxi driver there, and you ask him that, who is in this house? He says, he says, oh, take this money and tell me. That's national security money. He says, hey, I'm only girls, no, but men bomb me. He says, okay, you go. Then you go to another junction, you see another person carrying a wheelbarrow. You say, bra, what ya? He say, yeah, abu, unimame why am I so me name say, J, like I said, they see 10,000, they say, hey, now we are wine. He say, why now? He say, oh, now, full girls be, Then Kwabena Boahen signaled the police, surround the house for me. I saw the video. He said, surround the house, we need to go in. Going in, you don't know whether they have gun, they have knife, they have bomb, they have petrol bomb. You don't know. But you are the national security coordinator. You call Abel Kandapa. I say, Chief, we are here. We are on the premise. He say, be careful. How are you going to enter? He said, I need all the support. Can you ask 4BN to get ready because we might need reinforcement? And do they have helicopters in for? He said, yeah, they have 2. Yes, let the helicopters fly over. We just might need it. So we are going in. We pray to God that we can do this. Sign of the cross. 1, 2, 3. Let's move in. That's moving. You can open the door and the guy will spray all of you. You will die. But that's what Kwabena Boahen did. I've seen the videos. That's what he did. You can die. So, and then he went in and rescued the girls and brought them out. That 10,000 he gave somebody, 5,000 he gave somebody, 6,000 he gave somebody. It's national security operation. When he comes back in his reclassification, he will classify it 100,000 cedis used to buy flour. There's somebody who say, hey, 100,000 cedis for flour. This guy's a thief. That's what happens. That's what happens. So time and time again, we are going to be reminding our viewers and educating our people that this is getting very interesting. And really, it shouldn't be like this. Because if he has done something wrong, there are ways of dealing with him. And they can deal with him even stronger than the court can deal with him. They don't need lawyer. They don't need prosecution. They don't need witness. They don't need cross-examination. They don't need I put it to you, I put it to you. They have their national security operation. Hey, Master Chief, this money, you have to account for it. Who told you that you can do this? You can't do this. And then you use the money to buy houses. You think we are stupid. Confiscate the houses. And they'll become national security installations. He will go quietly and go. We will all never hear. When the security couples meet, they'll be whispering that, do you hear that they took the guy's house? Hey, yeah, Charlie, the guy he took 6 houses for himself. They collected everything. I saw him at the party the other day. I waved at him. He's fine. It's okay. And the state will never know. Of course, the president of Ghana will know. The vice president of Ghana will know. Maybe the foreign minister will know. The interior minister will know. But we, the rest of Ghana, we cannot know. This is the situation, viewers. This is the situation. Why are we doing this to ourselves? But that's the national security story. Now we are moving on to the judicial. We have to move on to the judicial story now. We are ready. We're going to talk to the guy who has petitioned the president. We're going to talk to him about these things. Maybe let's take some text messages on this one, and then we'll come back and deal with it. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's still live, and it's 15 minutes. Oh, what photograph do you have for me? You have some judges eating. I like this. This my young producers. They are very, very good. I really like this. So which judge is this, and which judge is this, and which judge is this? What were they eating? Prawn tempura and kelewele. They were eating prawn tempura and kelewele. Do you know kelewele? Kelewele and aloko. The Ivorians call it aloko, and prawn tempura. Someone told me that the God of Justice Tokonu is big. Oh. So what's the story? The story is that there is a petition that is on the president's desk. We'll be looking at the petition in some detail. But the allegation is that 4 people who are very, very important to the process of the Chief Justice removal appear to have been together. And I'm saying been together because lawyer Thaddeus Sori has issued a public disclaimer that there was no meeting. MEETING, meeting. What does the meeting mean? What should we understand the meeting to mean? But the allegation which has been put in the petition was gone before the president. The petitioner is in the studio here with me. This is not his first time of coming into the studio. Young man who is very agile. He is a former parliamentary aspirant for the New Patriotic Party in Adenta. We have to say that. Parliamentary aspirant for the New Patriotic Party. And he's been championing a lot of youthful agendas all over the place, and he's also very big on Christianity and Christian mobilization as well. That's also very important. I have to say that. They call him Adenta Kumi. Now, the allegation is that on Thursday, now why is this significant? Because that Thursday was the first day that the committee met. Just to recap, what is the committee? The committee is the President and the Council of States Committee set up pursuant to Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution for the purpose of fulfilling all righteousness under the Constitution before a removal of the Lord Chief Justice is actuated. The law says that where any Ghanaian feels that the Lord Chief Justice has done something unwholesome and therefore must be removed from office, that Ghanaian writes a letter to the president in the form of a petition. The president, upon receiving the petition, will forward the petition to the Council of State, albeit with the response of the subject matter, in this case, the Lord Chief Justice. When the petition gets to the Council of State, the Council of State must see whether or not the petition is frivolous or whether there's something to answer. If the Council of State comes to the conclusion that there is a case to answer, which the lawyers call in Latin prima facie, then the Council of State, together with the President, will set up a committee. The Constitution proceeds to delimit who and whom can be on the committee. It says that there should be 2 Supreme Court judges on the committee, one of whom is chairing it, and the other. And then there should be another person, and there should be 3 other people who are not members of the Council of State, and who are not members of Parliament, and who are not lawyers, members of the Ghana Bar Association. So in fulfilling the constitutional righteousness, John Dramani Mahama, together with the Council of State, having told Ghanaians that they have already established a prima facie case, then set up a committee of 5 members. Chairman of the committee is Mr. Gabriel Scott Poorman, who is the chairman of the committee by the Supreme Court judge, a very senior Supreme Court judge, I have to say, and also a member of the PNC. We know Gabriel Poorman would like us to mention that he's a member of the PNC. And then there's also Justice Asiedu, who is on the committee. So the 2 Supreme Court judges fulfilled. Then our own Dominic, I'm looking to meet with him. You know, we had a lot of fights back in the day when Akufo-Addo was trying to remove him and he said he wouldn't go. And people like us were fighting on the side of Akufo-Addo. And eventually he was removed. But I went to the Supreme Court and we lost. We accepted defeat. But it was too late because he had already passed the retirement age. He was out. So I'm looking for Dominic so that we can spy a little bit. So Daniel Dominic is also on the committee. And then there are 2 other people on the committee. Okay. So on the first day of hearing, on the Thursday morning, we've already told you what happened. They wrote a letter to the Chief Justice. They didn't add a venue. Later on, they added a venue in this, you know, I can't say obscure, but in some venue near the Osu Castle. When the sitting opened that morning, the Lord Chief Justice was not present, but her lawyers were present. And as the story goes, the panel told the lawyers that if the subject is not here, we will not hear you. The lawyers were quite bemused because letters had been written to them that they should appear on that day. Some of the letters were addressed to them. So that the panel were aware that they are the lawyers for Gertrude Tokonu. Gertrude Tokonu was not there. And they said that they would not hear the lawyers. And the lawyers should clear off. Go and bring Gertrude Tokonu. If you don't bring Gertrude Tokonu, we are not going to hear you. Get out of here. It was quite hostile. And the lawyers for Gertrude Tokonu were very bemused. And they were quite surprised because regular court practices, the subject is usually not usually, but sometimes not there. Okay. So the matter ended at around midday or 1 o'clock. And then, as the petitioner says, 6:30 p.m., between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., there was this dramatic entry into this restaurant at the airport's residential area. Gabriel Scott Poorman was there. Asiedu was there. Who's calling me? I'll call him back. Somebody's calling me. Oh, boss. Okay, I'm on TV. Hey, this matter is getting hot too. All right. So, Gabriel Scott Poorman was there. Asiedu was there. And who's the third person? Justice Kulendi, who is not sitting as part of the committee. He's not. He's a very distinguished Supreme Court judge, Justice Kulendi, on the left of your screen. Justice Kulendi was also there. Now, why is Justice Kulendi important in the allegation or the allegation of collusion? Because Justice Yoni Kulendi was one of the 3 judges who gave that expert opinion blocking the injunction that had been filed to injunct the committee's work. There was an injunction filed by the Supreme Court to injunct the committee's work on the basis that President Mahama had jumped the step of not giving Justice Tokonu the document. Now, that Supreme Court's decision was a 3-2 decision. 2 of the judges agreed with the applicant who filed the injunction, Mr. Asifo, a member of parliament. That application was argued by the Leonard Godfrey Dami, the former Attorney General. Now, Justice Kulendi ruled on the side that the injunction should not fly. And he was with the 3 and the 2 others. So Justice Kulendi, according to the story, was part of this dinner. And then Mr. Thaddeus Sori was also part of the dinner. The problem here, the allegation of the problem, that if all these facts are true, then there should be some concern as to why Justice Scott Poorman, who is chairing the committee, and Justice Asiedu, who is the other Supreme Court judge on the committee, are seen together with Thaddeus Sori, who is counsel for Daniel Ofori, and which Daniel Ofori has had a major tussle in the court over this EcoBank matter for a long time. And then on most of the Daniel Ofori tussles, Gabriel Scott Poorman has ruled in favor of Daniel Ofori, and Daniel Ofori has perceived Justice Tokonu as a major enemy in his quest to secure $97 million, 97 million Ghana cedis from EcoBank. Daniel Ofori perceived Tokonu as an opponent to this matter. Tokonu has reasons for opposing the matter on the basis of law, on the basis of calculation of compound interest, and all of those matters. That's Tokonu has a firm, clear view on that matter because she came out of the commercial courts and she's well versed in these things. But let's leave that for now. So this is the reason why eyebrows could be raised if it's true that all of these four men had met together having dinner on the same night after the committee refused to hear Justice Tokonu. This is the story. Now, the petitioner went to the president and petitioned. And the radio newspapers were carrying the story. And so this morning, on his Facebook page, can you put that? Thank you very much. On his Facebook page, Adom Otchere wrote this. It is a monstrous lie. No such meeting took place. It is very easy to fact check that. We know those who get justice through negotiation. I don't understand the second part of Adom Otchere's thing. He says, we know those who get justice through negotiation. I'm not sure who he means and what he means, but he's a very senior lawyer. So, I mean, I know he knows what he's talking about. But the fundamental thing that Justice Otchere says here is that there was no such meeting took place. In Justice Adom Otchere's comments, we don't know whether he means that he was not at the restaurant, or that he was not at the restaurant that day, or that he was there but the other judges were not there, or that the other judges were there and he was not there, or that he left before the other judges came, or that they came before he left, or that they were all there at the same time, but they just talked about something, or that he was there and he met somebody else and the judges were together somewhere else. We don't know all of those details. So on this note, let me go to the petition and let's see what the petition says before we go to speak to the petitioner at 25 minutes past 11 o'clock. Let's get the petition now. So the petition is P.O. Box 622, Adenta, Accra, 19th May 2025. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Jubilee House, Accra, comma, Your Excellency, comma, petition for the dissolution of committee formed under Article 146 of the Constitution to inquire into the petition against the Chief Justice as follows. Is by Mr. Kumi. Respectfully, comma, I'm a citizen of Ghana and one with keen interest in the protection of the Constitution, particularly all steps taken by the President in furtherance of his duty to execute and maintain the Constitution and the laws of Ghana pursuant to Article 58(1) of the Constitution of Ghana. On 22nd April 2025, the spokesperson to the President informed the nation of the composition of a 5-member committee under Article 146 of the Constitution to inquire into 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship, Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokonu. The members of the committee were stated as Justice Gabriel Scott Poaman, Supreme Court Judge, Justice Samuel Adibu Asiedu, Supreme Court Judge, Daniel Yao Lobdomlevo, former Auditor General, Major Florence Bazwanura Dalugu, member of the Ghana Armed Forces, Professor James Sefa Jifa, Professor, University of Ghana. That's the 5. The spokesperson to the President followed up with another press release on 14th of May 2025, in which he indicated that the committee will hold its first sitting on Thursday, 15th May 2025. Respectfully, comma, I deem it my duty to bring to your attention the conduct of some of the members of the committee set up by your good self, which clearly has compromised their fairness and has brought the committee into disrepute. In the evening of 15th of May 2025, between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m., Justices Gabriel Poaman and Samuel Kwame Adibu Asiedu, together with Justice Yoni Kulendi of the Supreme Court of Ghana, were seen having dinner with the counsel for one of the petitioners before the committee, Mr. Adom Otchere, at the Santoku restaurant located at Villaggio Airport Residential Area, Accra. The strange meeting of the 4 persons who are keenly interested in and have played and indeed continue to play critical roles initiated in the processes for the removal of the Chief Justice excited the curiosity of some persons in the restaurant. Indeed, they were overheard discussing matters relating to the petition. Respectfully, comma, the record of the presence of the 4 justices, Poaman, Kulendi, Asiedu, and lawyer Adom Otchere at the restaurant and the meeting they had can easily be verified and confirmed. I like that. The above development is of grave worry, as proceedings for the removal of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana is very solemn and serious process and should not lend itself to manipulation by any person or authority. The meeting between Justice Boahen, Kulendi, and Asiedu with Thaddeus Sori clearly has destroyed the integrity of the process and reduces public confidence in the process so far. Both Justices Asiedu and Boahen are members of the panel set up to inquire into the petition. They have no business meeting counsel for one of the petitioners outside working hours at the unofficial place, a restaurant, and to have a discussion. This is more serious when the record shows that Justice Boahen gave judgments in favor of the same petitioner, Daniel Ofori, represented by the same counsel, Thaddeus Sori, in Supreme Court. Justice Tokonu, the record shows, rather gave opinions against the said Daniel Ofori in one of the cases. Further, Justice Boahen is known to be interested in becoming the Chief Justice following your election as President of the Republic. That's interesting. The petitioner is telling the President that, Mr. President, but you know that Justice Boahen, since you became President, he wants to be Chief Justice, you know. But that's really what he's saying. But Mr. President, why? You don't know. You know that Boahen wants to be CJ, you know, because you were elected, you know that already. All right. Justice Yoni Kulendi is widely known to have been a close rival of Justice Tokonu for the position of Chief Justice when same became vacant after the exit of Justice Kwesi Eni-Yeboah. He, Kulendi, lobbied vigorously for the position but was disappointed by President Akufo-Addo. It is therefore not surprising that he voted with alacrity against the plaintiff, Vincent Eko Assefuah, to dismiss an injunction application filed by him to restrain the taking of further steps under Article 146 until the suit filed by him to challenge the process is determined. Clearly, he has an interest in seeing the exit of Justice Tokonu as Chief Justice. He is known to be interested in being appointed Chief Justice. Justice Samuel Kwame Adibu-Asiedu is also on record to have been one of those who actively lobbied to be Chief Justice after the exit of Justice Eni-Yeboah. He was also, however, disappointed by President Akufo-Addo on account of being far junior in the Supreme Court at that time. He thus has a personal interest in the removal process underway. Respectfully, in view of the matter set out above, the membership of Justice Boahen and Asiedu of the committee set up by your good self is an affront to justice. The meeting they had with Thaddeus Sori at Santoku restaurant on Thursday, 15th May 2025 clearly brings the administration of justice in the three petitions into disrepute and compromises their ability to efficiently discharge their duties to the Republic under Article 146 of the Constitution. Their conduct is deplorable and most unbecoming of justices occupying the highest court of Ghana. It has therefore the tendency to show that the whole process, quite unfortunately, is a sham. In the interest of preserving the integrity of the process, I hereby petition you for an immediate dissolution of the committee as its ability to dispense justice is clearly compromised. Thank you. Yours faithfully, Alfred Abebio Kumi. Thaddeus Sori says that there was no meeting.
Senior, good evening to your cherished viewers, and thank you for the opportunity to be on this great platform. I don't believe he was responding to my petition.
He wasn't responding to your petition?
I don't think so. When I wrote my petition, I was bold enough to mention the names of the people I felt had done something that I believe was unconstitutional. So if you think you have something to say about the petition, you write my name in whatever allegations you want to make. But my question is, Senior Paul, what is it that they are afraid of?
Who is afraid of?
That they are denying.
He says there was no meeting.
So when you say there was no meeting, the question is, are you saying that you were not in the location at the set time?
But if it's only him, whether others... So you're asking Thaddeus Sori to answer the question, yes, whether he was in the restaurant.
Was he in the restaurant between 7:30 to 8:30? That's the first question he needs to answer.
If you answer the question, yes, I was there, then what happens?
Okay, then he needs to answer that. Was he there with someone else before he moved to join the judges?
The judges were there. The judges have not spoken. They have not spoken.
Yeah,
he said there was no meeting.
He said the evidence that we have shows that he was there with someone before he moved to the other side of the restaurant. If you've been to that particular restaurant in question, you know how the place is. You have the right side and the left side. He was at the left side and moved to join the judges at the right side. And they were there for a long time. And you see, there's something about Ghana. There's a saying that everybody knows somebody. So don't think sometimes there are things that you are doing it in privacy. And there are people that, because of a certain little procedure that someone is going through, they want to pay attention to the very people that are involved. So how do we justify that there's really integrity in the process when there are two judges who are supposed to be part of a committee set by the president according to or with the powers of Article 146, Clause 6, and also a petitioner? Then you go back to the Code of Conduct of Judges. Which part are you looking at? Rule 1 of the Code of Conduct. You come to Principle 7. What are we looking at? Ex parte communication. What does it say? That it is prohibited. Senior, it is prohibited that any judge will sit down when there's an impending matter before you. I mean, judges meet people every day, but it is prohibited when you, as a judge, there's a matter before you and you meet one of the parties without the other party or without an officer of the law. So this is a serious matter. Someone will ask, what's your whole objective for sending this petition? For me, it's about integrity and fairness. I have a legal advisor called Adom Otchere, and he tells me that this whole removal of the Chief Justice is novel. Lawyers is becoming like a new study, and so the process must be fair, and the integrity of the process should not come into any disrepute. Then, if it does that, what happens is that the very organ of government that we know that they can offer partiality when there's an issue, you are killing that partiality. That's why judges,
impartiality.
Impartiality. You are bringing partiality to the court, and nobody wants partiality in the courts. So that's why this thing is a very serious matter. And you know what's more interesting? If they are doing this to their own colleague, how much more me? If judges are doing this to their own colleague, Chief Justice, how much more me? So it's a serious matter for me, and we shouldn't play with it at all. And I'm pleading with the president. The reason why I don't want to go into the details of this matter is because I want to give the president the benefit of doubt and also the benefit of time. That I know, as Ghanaians are now saying that he's a listening president, will look at this very well and tell us that the whole committee which he constituted with the powers of Article 146 will be dissolved.
That's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking.
For a new 5 to be set up.
Yes, for a new 5. Because if they breach their own code of conduct, how are they able to be on the committee?
So you're expecting a response from the presidency?
Yes, of course.
I see. That's interesting. What food do they eat?
Oh, Senior, I don't want to go into, as for that, it's someone's private matter. But the issue on board is that when you go to the code of conduct for the judiciary or for the bench, they call it the code of conduct for judges and magistrates. When you go to chapter 1 or rule 1, principle 7, talks about ex parte communication.
That's what my producer is putting on the screen. We've seen that, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you are relying on that.
Yes, I'm relying on that. Senior, it is unfair. If you read it very well, it talks about the fact that you've actually created a situation where you will be partial against someone. You cannot meet one party and not invite the other party. If you have to do so, the code of conduct tells you that you have to let there be a law or a regulation. And in the best practice, what you do is you bring an officer of the court who will be there as an independent witness. Is that what we saw? And why deny this? There's no problem with.
Sorry says there was no meeting. That's what he says so far. He hasn't told us yet that whether he was there or he wasn't there. He said there was no meeting.
Was he there? Was he there?
I'm guessing he may have been there because if he wasn't there, he would have said that I wasn't there. But he said that there was no meeting, so it suggests that he was there.
I'm praying,
but I don't know.
I'm praying to the justices to be able to write something on it that we were not there, that the meeting never went on. Then those evidence that is in play, the records that we'll have, will come to bear. If that's the tangent some of them want us to go, then that will come to bear. And I'm ready to send the records to the president when he asks of it. You know, we are talking about the highest level of our judiciary. And these are places that you don't want to play with it. There are matters that they are so serious that you cannot even trivialize it. You cannot at all.
Are you getting some text messages? I don't know what questions to ask further, but if you are getting some text messages, let's hear it. Kobe, they say you first. What are people asking?
All right, so Akwesi Amako Jemfi says, Paul, in my opinion, I think that to curb the whole situation, the powers of the president must be reduced, especially when it comes to the appointment of the CJ, CDS, and IGP. I think these institutions must have boards that will vet and appoint a suitable candidate who will work for the people of Ghana and not for a political party. Now, Alhaj CD says, Assalamu alaikum, Paul. I wish you, this isn't in regards to this, but I wish you add chronic doomsor as the national security threat because we are currently in deep doomsor. We barely enjoy light anytime it rains. Someone should tell GM that he should fix the lights and stop the lamentation. And finally, Akwesi, Rabiu lecturer says, Apostle Paul, the next Chief Justice ought to prepare both assumption of duty and resignation letters to assume the new duty under the current administration and to resign immediately upon the next NPP election victory. I doubt the survivability of such a Chief Justice after the NPP takes power. This will be the new standard procedure and cannot be impeded. What do you have for us, Fatih?
All right, thank you. Nana says, we don't need this fake government, NDC, and their democratic rules. Besides, we are calling on military leaders to wake up for a coup to over these criminals. Gabriel says, Paul, please ask Adenta Committee to take Okudzeto Ablakwa on as he's alleged some time ago on your show. It's only after that we take him serious. He makes allegations without proof. Benjamin Asay says, His Excellency, you are disgracing yourself by turning our only Supreme Court as a political arena. And Said Countryman says, thus far, Justice Bafo Boni, Gabriel Palman and Adibu has played some vital roles in seeing through the witch hunt and removal of the CJ. These are horns of the quest to be named CJ, and they are delivering on their hatchet jobs. The wicked will always be exposed. Lastly, coming from Joe Mansi says, petition in the media before reaching the president. Now back to you.
Wow. People are sending me a lot of text. Alfred, I want me to ask you that if the president doesn't do anything about your petition, what will be your next step?
Well, we'll know what to do. I'll have to restrain myself because of advice from my legal counsel. But we'll know what to do. But that's what I'm saying, that let's give the president the benefit of doubt. But Paul, it's important for us to understand that Ghana is bigger than all of us. Ghana is bigger than anyone. And we must hold to the highest standards when it comes to our institutions. We must hold our institutions to the highest standards. This petition is not about individuals. It's about due process. It's about the integrity of every process that wants to get anything done. No process to get any Chief Justice should be seen as unfair. Then you compromise the whole process. And we don't want any process that is compromised. And that's where we are now. That's where we are.
And the process is compromised.
Yes.
Viewers, what do you think? What should we do? If you were advising President Mahama, what should he do? Judges cannot go and eat kelewele and prawn tempura and fish tempura and black cod and nice Japanese cuisine. They can't eat it anymore. And if they want to eat it, they shouldn't eat it with Stadio Sorry. That's what Mr. Abebi Okumi is saying. That they shouldn't eat it. Do you have anything against any of these judges, by the way?
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you suspect that the judges are NDC because you are MPP?
Oh, I don't see any of the judges.
By the way, appointed by Akufo-Addo. I think Ogebe Poma was not. But Kulendi and Asiedu were appointed by Akufo-Addo.
That's what I'm saying, that I don't believe in judges that are MPP or NDC.
Once a judge is a judge.
Once he's a judge, I believe that he holds.
Do you have a personal relations with Justice Tokonu? Get to Tokonu?
I don't even know how she looks like. I've never.
You haven't seen her personally before?
Never.
You haven't seen Justice Tokonu?
Never.
At least on TV, you've seen her.
I've seen her pictures on TV, but I can't tell whether she's tall or she's short or.
Oh, please get Justice Tokonu's photograph. Let's show it to him. He says he doesn't know how Justice Tokonu looks like.
I don't have.
She's a very nice lady. This is getting very, very interesting.
But Paul, you see, there are some things that when we do as a nation, what we are doing is that we are killing the fiber or fabric of our nation. There's something that holds this nation together, and one of the most important organs of government is the judiciary. But when you become president today, you may get the opportunity to elect a chief justice. But it does not mean that the chief justice you elected is there to do your bidding. Any president who thinks his or her success is based on a chief justice has already failed. You've already failed.
Yes.
Because I don't know what a chief justice can actually do for you if you remove the chief justice.
You don't know what to do for who?
I don't know what a chief justice can do. Maybe you say you have parliamentarians on your side, you have majority in parliament, that you are making a case. But if you're a president and you have the chief justice on your side, any case that you take to court and the facts are not clear, you will lose. Because the court does not deal with, as Kweku Baako said, the court does not deal with conjecture. You cannot conjecture things and take it to the court. So if you're a president and you think that taking out a chief justice or appointing a chief justice should be your legacy or should be something that will help you, then you failed. You've lost it. Yeah, that's my personal belief. You've lost it. Because I don't know what a chief justice can actually do to tilt the balance for you. For example, as we are hearing that President Mahama will go for a third term, the Constitution has stipulated it already. You cannot change it. No chief justice can change it. No chief justice can change it.
So you're saying politicians shouldn't think that the chief justice can do you a favor?
No.
It's like electoral commissioner cannot do you a favor.
No, I don't need to have the chief justice as my friend.
As a president.
Even as a politician, I don't need a chief justice. Because there's a saying, if you want someone in there, Paul, how can the chief justice tilt the issue in my favor? If the facts that I'm holding, I don't know if you've heard this popular Kweku Baako saying, Kwasi Binti theory.
Kwasi Binti theory.
Theory.
What does it mean?
And he was saying that, you see, any fool can go to court. Because, and you have to have it, there's a note of caution. Exactly his word. There's a note of caution that the court only deals with facts, not conjecture. You cannot just go and conjecture things and come and say that, Adenta Kumi did this, whilst it's conjecture. But if the facts are clear, I wrote this petition because I have facts on me. Writing against someone like Justice Kulendi, big time lawyer before he became, he's trained over 1,000 of lawyers. So you know what you are coming up against. But the thing is that I'm not going up against him. It's the process. The facts on the ground. What is the issue? Is it personal?
You mean the issue between them and Tokono, is it personal? That's the question.
No, I'm asking that my petition, is it personal to them? It's not.
Are you sure? They may see it as personal.
Oh, come on.
Because you said they shouldn't eat prawn tempura. They shouldn't eat kelewele.
But those are your own words.
The menu at Santoku has something called prawn tempura because I Googled it and I saw the menu. It's prawn. I like the name, prawn tempura.
No, I mean, they serve the best Japanese.
It's beautiful. I saw the menu. Amazing. It's amazing.
When you sit there, when you have time, I'll take you
When
there.
I put the promo up, people said that you're a very mischievous guy. Why are you talking about President Kufuor's home? And I said, no, but it's near there. It's near President Kufuor's home.